Hey guys, this is Robert with Relentless Life Coaching, and I'm excited today because we're going to start a series called Building the Foundation for Your Financial Future. And it's going to start here in 2020. We're going to start teaching you to make decisions, whether you make a lot of money or you don't make a lot of money. It's not about making a lot of money. It's about being smart with the money that you have. It's about setting up a plan and understanding how to utilize money so that it works for you and that you're not continually always having to work for your money. So no matter where your situation is, we're going to be able to have tips and tricks. Some of the things you may have heard before, some things are going to be new. So always have a notepad, take notes, stay tuned. There's going to be a series of videos that are going to teach you about the basics. And I'm talking the basics of finances. This is called Building the Foundation. And then we can get into more specific topics later on based on your feedback and what you would like to hear from us. So stay tuned, grab a notepad, and let's get started. Welcome. So today we're going to be talking about building the foundation for your financial future. And the reality is that most people have no idea where they're even at. So before you can start building a plan of where you want to go, you first have to know where you're at. So what I want you to do, the very first step is I want you to go and look at the last 2 months bank statements. Okay, so pull that up on your last 2 months bank statements. If you have multiple bank accounts, do it on the multiple bank accounts. But pull up those statements and then start writing down the different areas. So you can have housing expenses, car expenses, miscellaneous expenses, the things every time you go to Walgreens to pick up something or you stop by the ice cream shop. Make sure you separate things by food. So create the different categories of areas that you spend money in. And then create all of your expenses based on the last 2 months spending. Then have another category where you have your income. So place your income, your spouse's, your partner's income, any source of income, whether you get Social Security, disability, anything like that, set up your income. Because we need to know where you're spending your money and then how much money is coming in. That's going to give you a huge viewpoint as to where you are and where you currently are in your current financial situation, because to be able to move forward and start making decisions to better yourself financially, you first have to know what your spending habits are, and are you staying within the limits of what income that you're making. Okay, so step one is go back, look at the last 2 months, write down everything, separate it, and see how much money you're spending compared to how much is coming in. I hope you guys went and did that. I hope you went, you looked at the last 2 months, and now you have a good basis to start building the foundation for your financial future. It's about setting a mindset of saying, I'm no longer going to spend money like I did in the past. And hopefully you were able to see, and it was eye-opening, how much money you spent that was not planned. It was not budgeted. It was not something in the beginning of the month that you were planning on spending. You have your fixed expenses, which is your rent, your car payment, your insurance, your gas, your food. These are all expenses that are going to come. They're called fixed expenses. Then you have your variable expenses that they could fluctuate. Your electric bill, your water bill, they can fluctuate every month. But then you have the miscellaneous. This is where people lose it. This is the key area of how you build your finances. You have your bills and you have your income, but it's what you do with that extra after you've paid your bills, that money that's left over. So say it's $500, or even, maybe if it's less, if it's $300 after your bills are paid, what are you doing with that $300? And this is where we need to be able to teach you to take that money and make smart decisions with it instead of wasting it on dumb things. And we're not saying not to go out and enjoy yourself, but we're going to help you to build a budget, to build at least a list of what your expenses are, what your income is, and then with the money that you have left over, being able to take that and make smarter decisions with it. All right, hey guys, now that you have a basis of where you are financially, you know where your expenses are, you know what your income is, you know what you have left over. Now is about looking at what expenses can you eliminate over time. So let's look at credit card debt. Let's look at car payments. Let's look at anything that we can stop spending to be able to take that money and then make smarter decisions financially to set ourselves up for later on. So one of the first things that we need to do is we need to have a column with all of our debt. This is unsecured debt. Okay, so this is all your credit cards, any personal loans that you have taken out. You're going to write all of those things down, and you're going to write it with the smallest debt at the top, and then go down to the largest debt. Let's not worry about what you're paying in interest. Let's just look at the smallest debt. And I know many of you have heard this before. This is nothing new, but it actually works. And there's no reason to reinvent the wheel here. It actually works, and I want you to do this. So go ahead and make a list of whatever debts that you have. If you owe a credit card $200 and you owe another one $400 and another one $800 and another one $1,000 and another one $5,000, you'll list them in that order. And what we're going to do is we're going to pay the minimum on the other credit cards, and we're going to maximize as much money as we can on the lower payment, with the lower balance credit card. So the one that we owe $200 on, if we have $400 left over at the end of the month, then next month we're going to take $200 and we're going to pay that credit card off. But the only way that this works, guys, is that you have to stop using the credit cards. So take those credit cards. I'm not telling you to cut them up and throw them in the trash. I'm telling you to just put them away somewhere. Put them in an envelope, lock it up somewhere, put it somewhere where you're not going to have it in your wallet. It's not easy to use, because if it is, you're going to use it, because it's a habit that you formed to utilize these credit cards. So we need to eliminate the easeability and use of those credit cards. So they're there in an emergency if you need it, but we don't want to continue with the habit of, if we need something, we just put it on the credit card because we can pay it off later. But what happens? You never pay it off later. You end up paying the minimums, and the interest is killing you. You're spending almost all the money and payments that you're doing straight to interest, very little on principal, and you'll be paying on those credit cards for the next 10 or 15 years. Guys, we cannot continue to do that. If you're serious about getting your finances in order, then we have to eliminate the credit card debt, and we have to stop the habit of going further into debt. All you're doing is spending tomorrow's prosperity today, and you'll always end up in that negative cycle, and you'll never have the money. And it's no one's fault but our own. It's our fault. If we want to get out of our way to set ourselves up financially, to live the life that we want, to eventually have the house that we want, and drive the cars that we want, and go on those vacations, and be able to give to charities, and do all the things that we want to do, right now we have to make those decisions. So guys, this is where we're going to start. This is how you build the foundation of your financial future. Is first off, you have to know where you're at. You have to make that list. So if you haven't done it yet, please go and make the list. Look at the last 2 or 3 months and write down everything that you spent. Categorize it. Then look at your income. How much income did you actually bring in? How much do you have left over? And what are you doing with that money that's left over? Then let's look at our debts. Set them up at the smallest debt first to the largest debt. Take the credit cards, put them away somewhere. Then go ahead and start paying off and set up your budget. I know no one likes the word budget, but you need to have a budget that says this is how much money is coming in, this is how much we know is going out in fixed and variable expenses, but this is what we have left over. And that's the important thing. That's what we want to focus on, is what's left over. We got to start making smart and good decisions with that, which means that we're going to take that and we're going to put it towards our lowest debt, our lowest credit card or bill that we have that we can eliminate. Because when we eliminate that, we're going to then take all of that money and we're going to put it on the next one. Okay, and then there's different names like snowball effect, whatever you want to call it, but it works. You take that money, you then put it on the next one, and when you pay that one off, then you put it on the next one, and before you know it, over time, you will have all of your bills paid off. Now, imagine you have $400 left over at the end of the month now. So we're going to take that and we're going to put it to paying this debt off, and say it takes you a year or a year and a half. I know that sounds like a long time. Everybody wants an instant, but it didn't take you overnight to build that debt, and it's not going to be overnight to get rid of that debt. So, but imagine right now you're spending $400 or $500 or $600 a month on that debt, and you have $400 left over now. When that debt is paid off, you're not going to have $1,000 a month left over. Now we can start to build into the future. We can start putting money in savings now. We can start putting money in a Roth IRA for your retirement later. We can start investing into businesses, into whatever it is that you want to do. We can invest into index funds, into the stock market, and we're going to get into all those videos on how to do that and the tips and tricks to that. But none of this is going to happen. None of it is going to be available to you until you start making the decision to say enough is enough. I'm no longer going to spend the way that I'm spending. I'm tired of not having any money. I'm tired of being the slave to the lender, of the credit card companies, of the car companies, and I'm going to start making better decisions. And until you can come up with that mindset, until you get sick and tired of living the way that you have and start making the right decisions with the money that you have left over, you're always going to be where you are. So guys, that's not what we want for you. We started this to be able to help people. We're not here to make money. We're not here to do anything other than to help you, because we have been there. I have been there at the lowest point financially, and I've been where I am now, where I'm finally, after many years of making bad decisions and then years now of making right decisions, I am where I am financially, and I'm telling you, it is amazing. You do not want to live your whole life in debt. Being debt-free, being out of debt, having plenty of money, not worrying about how you're going to pay your bills, it is so worth it, guys. So don't give up, don't quit. Let's get started in building your financial future, and stay tuned for the next video where we will continue this education in your finances. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.